Hello, you beautiful people. I'm Israel Balderas, and this is What Up 1A. Because sometimes the biggest First Amendment stories aren't shouted, they're edited out. So let me start with a word: independent. If you went to the Federal Communications Commission's website earlier this week, it described itself as an independent U.S. government agency overseen by Congress. If you went back a few hours later, that word was gone, not revised, not clarified, deleted. And that wasn't a typo. That happened after FCC Chair Brendan Carr went before Congress and said out loud,
Is the FCC an independent agency?
Senator, thanks for that question. I think that,
Yes or no is all we need, sir. Yes or no, is it independent?
well, there's a test for this in the law, in the key portion of that
Just
test.
yes or no, Brendan?
The key portion of that test
Okay,
is,
I'm going to go to Commissioner Trusty. So just so you know, Brendan, on your website, it just simply says, man, the FCC is independent. This isn't a trick question.
okay, the FCC
it
is
yes or
not,
no?
is not.
Okay.
Is not.
So
an
is your website
independent-
wrong? Is your website lying?
Possibly. The FCC is not an independent agency.
now, on one level, this sounds like peak Washington nerd fight. Administrative law, Article 2 powers. Grab the popcorn. But here's why it actually matters, especially if you care about the press. The FCC sits in a very strange place in our constitutional system. It can't censor speech. It can't decide truth, but it can create pressure, investigations, delays, additional work. And if you've worked in journalism, you know pressure doesn't have to be loud to be effective. At the same time this is happening, the FCC is in the middle of its quadrennial review of media ownership rules, the boring sounding process that determines who owns your local news, how consolidated media becomes, and how resilient journalism is when politics gets ugly. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump is posting on Truth Social that TV networks should be properly licensed and pay for using public airwaves. Now, taken separately, one's a hearing, one's a regulatory process, one's a social media rant. Taken together, that's not noise. That's architecture. There's a growing legal movement, sometimes called post-liberal or common good constitutionalism, that says independent institutions are a problem. Neutrality is a myth, and the president should use all his power to shape society directly. If that's your worldview, then an FCC that sees itself as an independent agency is an obstacle. An FCC that sees itself as an extension of executive power, well, that's useful. And no, nobody's pulling licenses tomorrow. That's not how press freedom erodes. It erodes when independence becomes optional, when regulation becomes a signal, and when journalists start asking quietly, is this worth the trouble? So yeah, pay attention. Something important is being redefined, and it's happening in plain sight. Not a sermon, just a thought. Leave me a comment and join the conversation, and don't forget to subscribe to my Substack channel, Beyond the Talking Points. See you next time.